Hi and welcome back to We Really Wonderful's Knitted Bunnies tutorial 15. In this video we're going to be making the arms with the pattern up to from rows 1 to 12, all techniques that we have covered in previous videos, like casting on, purling, stocking stitch, knitting forward and back. So I am going to leave you to complete the first 12 rows using those techniques you've already learnt. Row 13 is a little bit different. I think you probably would be able to do it, but as it's laid out a little bit different, I am going to show you that row. And then we'll talk you through the rest of the arm, and then you'll need to make 2. So if you'd like to go ahead and knit rows 1 to 12, and then join me in one moment. Right, so row 13 is knit 1, knit 2 together, knit 12, knit 2 together, knit 1. So just the layout might be a little bit different from what we used to see, and so I thought I'll show you through that to make sure you understand how to do that. So let's get started. We're also going to show you how to join a new strand of wool, because that's something that we haven't seen yet and it's very useful to know. So we're going to do that as well. So this is the arm so far. This is what yours should look like with rows 1 to 12. So now we're going to complete row 13. As you can see, we're pretending, oh, look at that, the ball's run out, the wool's snapped, something's happened. So when we get to the stage we need to add some more wool, you can see how it's done. So instruction is knit 1 and then knit 2 together. So we've knitted 1 as normal, knit 2 together, like so. And now I wouldn't want this strand to get too short because we do have to tie it at the back to make sure it's secure. So I think we'll join it now. I don't like to change ball right at the beginning on the here before we start a row, because the knot is then visible and it's right on the edge. So it's a little bit better to join it part way through your knitting if at all possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the end of our new ball of wool. And what we're going to do is just start knitting with that. So our next stitch is going to be, you're going to be doing knit 12 next. So we'll start with that. So I'm going to leave that little end there. That's the one we've either cut off or has run out. And then I'm going to do my over with this. So we'll place the end at the back. So I'm just going to do that, look, and just place it over. So the odd strand will be at the back, and this, which leads to the ball, is being pulled forward through the front. So we're just going to knit that stitch, and then I'm going to carry on knitting a few more, and then we'll knot it a little bit later on. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you could knot off, you know, a stitch or 2 after if you wanted, but I think we'll finish this row and then we'll show you how to do that. So after the knit 12, it's knit 2 together. So we're just going to go up there and knit those 2 together, and then knit 1. There we are, and now we should have 16 stitches at the end of that row. The numbering brackets are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So always good if you remember to check at the end of every row when you're learning. So we're going to turn it over to the back of our work, and we have both of the strands at the back. So we're going to pull them slightly. We just want to make it so the stitches are all the same tension as the other stitches. We don't want them really tight, but we don't want them loose because we don't want a hole. Now all we're going to do at the back is just knot them and do a double knot. So we're just going to knot that there, and then knot it again. Knot it 3 times if you want, but 2 is pretty much enough. So we're going to do that quite tightly. I'm going to check that it looks okay at the front. What we're looking for is it to look nice and even. If you left the strands too light, you might find that's a bit loose and you've got a little bit of a loose stitch there, and you don't want it too tight because it will be puckering. So perfect. So now we've done those and we've knotted it so it's nice and safe. It's not going to unravel. So I'm going to cut these but I'm not going to cut them really tight to the knot, because you could find that the knot will then undo. The end will sneak out. So I've left about 1 centimetre, so that's okay. And I've just cut them off to make sure the ends are all over the place and getting in our way. And that is that. So that's all you need to do if you need to change your wool. So that is row 13 completed. So now I need you to complete the rest of the arm. Again, it's all things we have already covered. You're going to cast off purlwise. So that is purl 2 stitches and put the bottom stitch over the top, purl another stitch, put the bottom over the top, and carry on right to the end of the row. And then we're going to put the end through the final stitch to tighten it off as we've done before, and then thread the strand on the needle as it explains in the pattern. And we're going to gather those stitches at the end, so sewing through each one, pulling it tight, and then mattress stitching all the way along the arm, stuffing as you work, just like we did for the head in the tutorial earlier. Now with the arm, we don't want it really full. I'll show you, a bit like Blue Peter. Here's one I made earlier. So we're going to stuff the hand quite firmly, but it's not absolutely stuffed. And then we're going to taper it off. So these last bit at the end, there is actually, about this bit, there is actually no stuffing in at all. And this section is just very lightly stuffed. So that's what it looks like at the front. And there's the back, so that's just the seaming line. And that is going to go underneath, so it doesn't have to be perfect. So you can see, don't overstuff. What will happen if you overstuff the arms or stuff them right to the top is you'll have an animal with his arms stuck right out the sides. I'll show you. So if they were too stuffed, he'd end up looking like he had his arms just stuck out completely, which not a good look for a bunny. He's not going to be the coolest bunny then. If they're done with a like the top, you'll find that the arms rest by his sides. So that's a much better look. So when you have got to the end here and you've finished your stuffing, what we're going to do is fold the ends together like so. So it says to fold the ends flat and then sew through them. So what we're doing is that seam wants to be down the centre underneath. So just hold the 2 ends, you're going to be left with those open, hold them together after you finish mattressing, and then just pop your needle through a few times. So back and forward here, and across and back and forward, just to close that off. That's all we're doing, is sewing that end closed so the stuffing doesn't escape, like so. And then make your second arm in exactly the same way, and then we're going to put them aside, and they're ready then for sewing on later. So join us for the next tutorial where we are going to be making the ear in moss stitch. I'll see you there.